Hi, I'm Jenny with Kids Learning for Life. If you didn't know this already, the library is an amazing resource for homeschoolers. I'm going to give you some tips on how to use the library and all of its various resources for your homeschool. I want to start out with the tip of requesting books. It's not just the books that are currently in the library that you can request. You can also request books to be sent from other libraries in surrounding areas, which is really nice. And to be clear, you can also request books that are in your actual library physically that they can just set aside and have you pick up when you're ready. Now, depending on the book and how popular and in demand it is, it could take weeks or even months for you to finally get the book. But for the most part, my experience is that the books are usually available within a week. On one of our recent podcast episodes, our guest Rochelle from @PlannerStateOfMind on Instagram had this amazing tip about requesting books because she requests them kind of seasonally based on whatever holiday is coming up. So she makes sure to request them about a week or two ahead of time before you would think about requesting something for that season, just to make sure that you get the title before anyone else does. I love requesting books. I don't have the time to look around and find that exact perfect book for me. So I do a lot of research ahead of time on what I'm going to read next or what I'm going to use in homeschool. And then I just request it, whether it's at my local library or not. I know that my local library system will take good care of it and make sure it's where it needs to be so that I can just come in and pick it up super easy. Another thing about libraries that some people don't know is that libraries rent out movies. This is definitely cheaper than, all these different streaming subscriptions that have limited selection, and it's even cheaper than things like Redbox. Now, I know of one library in my area that does charge $1 per DVD or movie that you rent, which is still a steal if you think about it. It's just an amazing way to be able to rent out different materials for your family and for your homeschool. For example, I've used this in the past before I had Wi-Fi here at my new house, before I had a TV set up. So I just used the laptop and just put in educational DVDs every now and then that were rented from the library. The other bonus to using movies that are rented from the library is they have the widest selection that I can possibly find. I listen to this one movie podcast and I'm part of the Facebook group that they have on there, and the go-to place that cinephiles go to get all these really obscure movies, whether they're foreign titles, whether they're just really old movies, the library is bound to have it. So that's what makes it such an amazing resource if you're into movies and teaching about movies or just, watching movies for fun as a family. Now, next, I want to tackle kind of a big subject when it comes to libraries, especially these days with everything being so virtual, and this is the various apps that libraries have to offer. So first of all, most public library systems have some sort of app that you can use to request materials that you want. So that's usually pretty easy on there. You just sign in with your library card number and your password, and you can go on there and just request materials, see what's available, see which library it is at, and set it so that they will send the books to the correct library for you. Now, there are also apps that are used for checking out digital materials. So the two that I have the most experience with are Libby and Hoopla. I'm going to talk about Libby first. Libby is an app through the library, and this is for just audiobooks and ebooks. One tip for using Libby is that you can sign in with multiple library cards that you've gotten from different areas that you've lived in or visited. So that will expand the catalog for you and really just make the options of what you want to check out so much greater. Now, one tip I have for this app is I went through a lot of trial and error with it. I learned to change the settings so that when I'm looking for something that I want to check out right now, you have to set your search criteria to just say available now. I highly suggest just switching it to available now, especially if you're looking at the app with your kids, because they are definitely not going to want to wait that long. I've also noticed this cool thing on Libby called Lucky Day borrows. I noticed this more at the beginning of COVID, so I don't know if it's still a thing they're offering, but Lucky Day borrows are these really, really popular books that you would normally have to wait months and months and months for, that they make available to you immediately. The perfect example is the Harry Potter series. Usually you have to wait months for any of these titles to be available. They are so unbelievably popular. It was so interesting because I was just searching for these titles not expecting that they would be available. I was just expecting to put them on hold, and some of them were available immediately. The one thing with Lucky Day borrows is that you can only have one lucky day at a time. So you can't just borrow the entire Harry Potter series all at once. You kind of have to still go through them one by one, and you do want to make sure to return it as soon as you're done so that maybe someone else can be lucky enough to have a Lucky Day borrow as well. The other really big library app is called Hoopla. Hoopla is not just for audiobooks and ebooks, but it also has video content on there as well. So they have movies and TV shows that you really have a hard time finding anywhere else. They have really obscure random things, and it's kind of fun to look in there and find some hidden gems. So how Hoopla works is you get a certain amount of borrows per calendar month. So if you're set up on notifications on there, they'll let you know, hey, your borrows have reset. You have 5 borrows for the month, which is how many borrows I have on Hoopla. But I have heard of this special trick that people do where if multiple people in the family have library cards, you can have them all signed in and then you earn extra borrows per month. Since you have a limited amount of borrows per month, titles are available immediately. So there are none of those long wait times that Libby has. Sometimes there are things where I just would never be able to find it anywhere else that's available now. So that's when I go to Hoopla. But if there's something that I just want to listen to right now and I may or may not be interested in it, I'll just take the chance and listen to it on Libby, and that's not going to waste one of my borrows. Now I want to talk to you about local events that the library hosts. My kids have always, from when they were little babies, loved library story times and any of the arts and crafts type events that libraries offer. One thing that is great for homeschoolers that helped my own personal homeschool is having these libraries that have different themes based on the school subject that they are covering. We used to go to about 1 or 2 story times per week back when in-person events were a thing at the library here in California. So we would go to an early literacy one, so that encouraged imagination and play and reading literature. And then there was also one that was for STEM, which was amazing because I've always since the beginning had trouble incorporating science into my homeschool. The kids would go to the STEM story time. It would be very focused on a particular subject, for example, the sun or the moon or clouds, and then they would do some sort of hands-on activity teaching them about that subject. It was really great, and it really got me through that first year of homeschooling, providing samples to my charter school. So I highly recommend checking out any sort of story times that your library has to offer. A few extra bonuses that these events have provided for my family is teaching my kids how to sit still and listen patiently. It's good for them to kind of get out of the home, have someone else that they know that they need to respect and listen to, so that's definitely a bonus. I also love the sense of community, especially at our new house. The local library here is amazing, and my girls have just made so many new friends just by people routinely going to these story times every week. So that's another bonus. It's just making new friends and, experiencing the community together. These days, I know a lot of libraries are offering some sort of virtual story times on Zoom or offering live Facebook events to encourage the kids to still be able to participate. So check that out and see if that's an option in your area. One thing that I have really been enjoying about my library lately are the library book sales. I'm convinced that library book sales are just such a hidden gem that people really don't know about. In these library book sales, I have seen everything. I have seen straight up curriculum. I have seen classic literature in amazing shape. I have seen just all sorts of old books that I haven't been able to find anywhere else. So if you're looking for one of these rare finds and you really don't mind hunting and pecking for which things you exactly want, it's amazing when you can find stuff that you haven't been able to find anywhere else. I also wanted to mention that Libraries can really just be kind of a safe haven for parents who just need to get out of the house. I don't know about you, but I get a little stir crazy when I'm home with the kids all day, every day. And so sometimes when my husband is able to be with the kids for an afternoon, he's like, Jenny, just go to the library. He knows that that's my safe place because the library is such a beautiful place. It's so quiet. Everyone's respectful, everything's in order exactly where it needs to go, and that's just in such stark contrast from my life at home that sometimes I just go there and I spend time working on my laptop, maybe working on something for Kids Learning for Life, or I just like free read. I just like spend time in that atmosphere. Speaking of which, libraries tend to have amazing Wi-Fi. Like I said, for a whole year of living here, I did not have Wi-Fi. I got Wi-Fi just very recently, but I would depend on the library. If I had to get anything done for Kids Learning for Life, I would go to the library and I would like type up my stuff there or upload my stuff there. Libraries are an amazing resource if you either have no internet or like a weak internet signal at your house. I think it's really important for us homeschooling parents to just get that time where you can kind of just collect your thoughts, spend some time just reflecting. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and preach self-care because for some of us, we're just too busy to even really take care of ourselves, let alone like go above and beyond and like pamper ourselves. But the library to me has really been a resource of peace and support and community, and that has just made a world of difference in my homeschool life. There you have it. Those are my library hacks. I hope that some of them are helpful to you. I just encourage everyone to just see what their local library offers because they may have even more than what I just recommended to you. Definitely check out your local library's website. They're usually pretty good about updating things on there, putting their events, their hours, any upcoming things that are going on, whether it's book sales as well. That's something you can keep an eye out for. So check out your local library's website because it's just such an amazing resource, and I feel like people don't really take advantage of it as much as they could. What are some fun and creative ways that you use your local library? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to get more videos just like this one. See you next time!